Hi everyone, Jay Stropes here again. We'll be playing a sealed deck with Sabine Wren running a yellow base. If you're familiar with Magic, aggro is often harder to do in sealed since games go longer and favor high drop cards. Got a similar situation in Star Wars Unlimited. You really want to finish out the game before the other player can heal their base or start to snowball out of control. The randomization of sealed pools usually favor longer play styles, so we'll have the deck list at the end, but just probably worth it to say that out of the 30 cards in this deck, 17 of them are ground units and 6 of them are space. So we've almost got nearly 2/3 of our deck just in ground units alone. Most of these matchups will be looking, like I said, to be pushing damage. We opened a Millennium Falcon, which is a really great unit. Played and constructed in Sabine decks. It comes out ready, lets you attack right away with it. The downside to it is that you've got to spend a resource each turn to keep it around. Just deciding which ones we want to resource here. I'm going to play red 3. It is worth noting that you'll want to pay really close attention to card traits and aspect the colors that a card is. Because, like with our red 3 that we just played, some of the how those cards interact might surprise you. Red 3 boosts white aspect cards. And there's also cards that boost rebels, like General Dodonna. But the Millennium Falcon is not traded as a rebel unit, at least this version of the Millennium Falcon. So it is not a rebel ship, despite blowing up the Death Star 2, which might mess with your math a little bit. So be really careful about the traits of the cards that you're playing, especially if you're really looking to get in 1 extra damage or 2 extra damage that could mess you up. Same thing for cards that, like come out and give experience to rebels or boost rebel toughness and stuff. Just gonna keep swinging at the base. Game will not last very long. We've got a whole bunch of damage in the air. So play that Fleet Lieutenant. It lets us attack with a rebel. Going to 0 health right there. Okay, so now we're in a near mirror match. They're playing a green base. Gonna use our action. Our bases will be going down pretty quick with both of these Sabines using their abilities here. Take the initiative. We still have the Falcon. Again, a really great card. We'll attack with 2 tubes there because we don't want them to run Colonel Yularen into our 2 tubes. They can get rid of him and Colonel Yularen will still stick around. So we opt to do that first just in case they want to get rid of our 2 tubes. They're going to play their event on him and swing at our base. Tactical advantage, covered that a little bit in the last video with Chewbacca. Since it doesn't let you attack, you really get down on actions if you're trying to use that. It gives you the +2/+2, but it doesn't let you attack right away with it. Again, we're just going to keep going with 2 tubes here. That's just, again, because they could run into us with Colonel Ularin. Might have been better to wait to attack with 2 tubes since we could have buffed Sabine there, but I think it's better 9 times out of 10 to just push damage when you know that you can push it instead of hoping that they don't get rid of your unit. I'm going to resource that disabling Fang fighter right there. Just resourcing based on what we think we'll see from their deck. They probably will not have a lot of sentinel units or shields, so can safely resource that disabling Fang fighter. Play Dodonna since we've got 2 rebels out. Just keep swinging at their base. The added damage from Dodonna will help out. Plus, they're gonna have to either spend resources trying to get rid of him or go right at our base and outrace us, but they won't win that race. In fact, they'll go to 3 right now, so since they opted to attack as soon as we take the initiative, that'll be game for them. Because we got plenty of damage on the ground, plenty of damage in space. Even if they somehow dropped a sentinel unit somewhere, wouldn't really matter. Alright, we'll go into our 3rd game right here against Jyn Erso on a green base. So similar, a little bit similar color combination to what we just faced. Kind of debating on what we want to keep. Don't really want to be going the stall route, so we'll get rid of that asteroid sanctuary. Just try and get out as much damage as we can. Try and push through as much as we can. Top of our curve in this deck are those syndicate lackeys in yellow, which have ambush. It's important trying to play aggro that your high drops have an immediate onboard impact, which traits like ambush do provide you there. We'll opt to get rid of their Colonel Ularin, just because we can keep our partisan insurgent around. I'm just trying to see what we want to do. I think we'll resource that because we want to keep all these red cards in our hand. That'll provide a lot of fuel for Fighters for Freedom to stack up a lot of damage as we play out all of our red cards. Especially if we get to a point where we're going to be dumping a whole bunch of cards at once. Then that'll all stack on there all at once. Okay, so their turn is over. This is kind of what I was talking about. That means we're free to play as many cards as we want, free to take as many kind of actions, even playing out kind of low drop units for our fighters for freedom. They started out this turn at 37 health, and by the end of this turn, they're going to be at 25 because they took the initiative. So a whole lot of damage just on one turn. Again, we're kind of resourcing based on what we think that they'll play. So not many sentinels, not many shields. So play out that red 3, work out really nice. So add to all of our damage, it'll all start to add up. Okay, so they've got a sentinel in the air, but we've saved our special force soldier. I'll play that soldier right now, remove that, do damage to their base. That Fighters for Freedom coming in really handy here, doing a lot of damage over the course of this game. Had 2 of those in our sealed chewy pool. If you can get multiples of those, especially in an aggro deck, it can really pump out a whole lot of damage. Get them all the way down to 8. So the Falcon came in a little bit late for us because they do have that Sentinel, but it's really not going to matter. We've got way more than 8 on the ground, and there's really nothing they can do with all those cards in their hand even then. Looks like we got a little bit of lag there. Okay, so I'll put experience on Jen, but that is too little too late. So we're going to go down to 2 or 1. So we got rid of our red 3, but they had to wait and play out those other cards to be able to even deal that damage with Akbar, so we won there. Okay, I talked about a little bit earlier. You can see we got 17 ground units, including 3 crafty smugglers and 2 Ezra Bridgers, which I don't think we saw in any of our games. We did have 2 fighters for freedom, not just 1, so had 2 in there. Again, stacking those with lots of red drops, pretty good. Could have used a few more partisan insurgents. Really good low-cost card. Those rogue operatives, since they've got Saboteur, help us get around sentinels that might appear on the ground. Syndicate lackeys, I still think good decision for our high end with their ambush ability, even though we didn't really end up using them. 6 space units, no slouch in the air either. Sometimes in sealed, you end up with not quite so many space units, but we got a fair showing up in space too. The only thing that kind of not as great is the Vanguard Ace, but we do still have like a lot of low cost units that we could kind of spit out on the ground. I think we kind of showed that off in game 2. So if you play those a bunch of low drops and then play that, they can come out and be pretty big. Really did not have a lot of removal, but we did have a fair amount of stall to tap down units, bounce units, which works well enough in an aggro deck. That stall would allow us to push through damage through even with high drop units. Okay, so there's a smuggling compartment. I did think about kind of running that. Pretty good with Falcon since it readies the resource that the Falcon eats up. Probably a good case that might be playable in this deck. You have a precision fire Again, nice way to get around sentinels. And a surprise strike, nice constructed card to help push damage too. I think there, we got a lot of playables. Okay, so we'll view our sealed pool. As we kind of go through here, I think just looking back over it, the only other route that might have been viable would be a red, green, black deck. You can see we opened an Emperor right there. We've also got a fifth brother. We've got Royal Guard. We had Callus. Callus is really, really great. We've even got like one copy of Tag, one copy of Veers, even other things like Homestead Militia that would probably be playable. The reason why the red, green, black deck probably would not work, I think we're just missing a few 1 to 2 drops. I mean, we did have some super laser techs, but those are 3 drops. You really want more Death Star Stormtroopers or those 1 drop TIE units. If we had had a few more of either of them, probably would have worked. Would have been a better case for that kind of a deck. We really had kind of like one copy of the cards you would want, like one copy of each one that you'd want, but not multiples, and I don't think definitely enough to do it because it was kind of spread out over some of our other colors. Because we'd have some good blue cards like the System Patrol Craft, like 2 of those, but again, they're all kind of spread out in some different colors there. We did also have an Overwhelming Barrage, really great card, would have been good in a red, green, black deck. Also had 2 premium removal in blue with those takedown and that vanquish. Strike 2 is also really good removal in green, along with our 3 waylays there. Okay, and that is it.